for the love of a princess. It was summer on Ant Island, and the worker ants were busy harvesting fruits and grains. The grasshoppers would arrive soon, as they did every year, to demand enough food from the ants to get them through the winter. The grasshoppers were strong and mean, and the ant colony had no choice but to obey. Princess Ada and Thorny, the foreman, were watching the ants when a kernel of grain came flying toward them. Thunk! It knocked the princess to the ground. Two royal advisors rushed to help her. Nearby, a worker ant was pushing a strange-looking machine into a stalk of grain. Thunk! Another kernel sprang from the machine and hit the princess. The worker ant stopped the machine and removed his mask. It was Flick, an inventor ant who had lots of big ideas that always went wrong. He had invented a harvesting machine to help collect food more quickly. Princess Ada didn't seem very excited. "You want to help?" asked Thorny. "Get back in line and pick grain like everyone else." Princess Ada felt bad for Flick, but Thorny was right. The grasshoppers would be coming to collect the harvest soon. If it wasn't ready, all the ants would be in trouble. Flick walked away sadly. Ada's younger sister, Princess Dot, ran after him. "Hey, Flick," she called. "I like your inventions." "I'm never going to make a difference," he said with a sigh. "Me neither," Dot said. "I can't even fly yet. I'm too little." Flick picked up a rock. "Pretend that's a seed." Dot looked at Flick doubtfully. "It's a rock." "We'll just use our imaginations," Flick said. "All the seed needs is some time, sunshine, and rain. Give yourself some time. You're still a seed." All of a sudden the alarm sounded. The grasshoppers were coming. The ants ran around, bringing the last bits of food to the pile. Then Princess Ada led the workers into the anthill. The colony waited quietly. Usually the grasshoppers collected the food and quickly flew away. Suddenly, huge feet smashed through the anthill ceiling. The grasshoppers jumped inside. Hopper, their leader, bellowed, "Where's my food?" "Isn't it up there?" Ada asked fearfully. "If it was, would I be down here?" Hopper sneered. After the colony had hidden in the anthill, Flick had used his machine to try to add more grain to the pile, but his invention had accidentally knocked all the food over the cliff and into the river. So when the grasshoppers had shown up, there wasn't any food for them. They were furious. Hopper seized Princess Dot for a moment. Then he warned everyone else that unless they harvested more food by the end of the season, they might not survive. After the grasshoppers left, Princess Ada and the council argued over what to do. Then Flick said, "We could find bigger bugs to come here and fight, and forever rid us of Hopper and his gang," he volunteered. "I could travel to the city." Ada and the council realized that if Flick was gone, he wouldn't be able to ruin another harvest. It was the only way to protect the colony, even though it would be a dangerous journey for Flick. Later that day, Princess Dot walked with Flick to the top of the hill as they left for the city. She waved confidently when he sailed away on the dandelion puff. Soon Flick returned with a group of bugs he thought were savage warriors. "I knew you could do it," Dot cheered. But Princess Ada was worried. Could these strange bugs really fight the grasshoppers? There was Heimlich, a colorful caterpillar, Manny, a praying mantis, and his wife Gypsy, a moth with dazzling wings. Tuck and Roll were pillbug brothers, Francis was a male ladybug, and Rosie was a black widow spider. Dim was a beetle, and Slim was a walking stickbug. Flick had seen the bugs arguing with some pesky flies and thought they were tough fighters. He didn't know that they were actually circus performers. The circus bugs agreed to go to the colony because they thought Flick liked their act. When the circus bugs found out they were supposed to fight the grasshoppers, they told Flick who they really were. Flick asked them not to say anything to the other ants. Suddenly the ants heard a sparrow's call. Princess Ada looked up and saw her sister floating through the air. Dot had climbed up a dandelion puff to get a better view of the circus bugs, and the stem had broken. As she fell, the sparrow dived after her. Francis the ladybug took flight. I got you, he called to Dot. Then the circus bugs led by Flick created a distraction so Francis and Dot could get away. When the circus bugs brought Princess Dot safely to her mother, they were greeted by loud applause. I owe you an apology, Ada said to Flick, especially after that rescue. It was really brave. Really? He said proudly. Even Hopper's afraid of birds, Ada replied. Suddenly, Flick kissed her cheek and ran off, shouting, "Thank you!" He realized that the colony should build a fake bird to chase the grasshoppers away from the food. To chase the grasshoppers away for good. Princess Ada felt guilty that she had not believed in Flick, so she directed the colony to build the bird. Even the circus bugs decided to help. Ada felt confident that between the fake bird and the warrior bugs, they could defeat the grasshoppers. The bugs worked day and night. When the bird was finished, the circus bugs decided to stay. They believed in Flick's plan. One day the alarm sounded, but it wasn't the grasshoppers. Instead, a wagon pulled by 2 centipedes burst out of the grass. The driver yelled, "I am the great P.T. Flea!" He unrolled a poster of the circus bugs. "I am looking for a bunch of circus performers." "You're not warriors?" Princess Ada asked the circus bugs. "These guys are the lousiest circus bugs you've ever seen," said P.T. Flea. Flick tried to make excuses, but Ada stopped him. "You lied to the colony. You lied to me," she said. "I want you to leave, and this time, don't come back." Flick and the circus bugs left, but Ada was worried. Instead of harvesting, the ants had spent the summer building a fake bird. Before long, the grasshoppers returned. They were furious when they saw how little food there was, so they held the queen hostage while the rest of the colony gathered the food. Luckily, Dot managed to escape. She knew that Flick, the circus bugs, and the fake bird were her only hope of saving the colony. She soon found Flick and the circus bugs, who were on their way to the city. But when they heard the colony was in trouble, they turned around. They hurried back to the anthill and launched the fake bird at the grasshoppers, but it crashed to the ground. Princess Ada ran toward the wreckage to search for her sister. Unfortunately, Hopper grabbed Dot first. He was even angrier than before. "Whose idea was this?" he yelled at Ada. Flick shouted, "The bird was my idea." He didn't want Ada or Dot to get hurt. "Ants are not meant to serve grasshoppers. It's you who need us." Hopper raised his foot to squish Flick, but Princess Ada blocked him. Ada realized that all along Flick had been doing his best to help the colony and her. The ant colony and the circus bugs tried to protect Flick too, but as the grasshoppers began to fly away, Hopper took him hostage. Princess Ada knew she was Flick's only chance. Risking her own life, she flew after the bugs and rescued Flick. When he told her to fly toward a bird's nest, she trusted him, and Hopper became lunch for 3 hungry birds. At last, the ants were free. Ada and Flick returned to Ant Island. Her mother retired, and Ada was crowned queen. She happily appointed Flick the colony's official inventor. The circus bugs left shortly thereafter, glad that they had been able to help. The ants waved goodbye gratefully. Everything had worked out for the best. The end.